why do you choose to take that risk about speaking about mental health and addiction when they may be considered taboo or even harmful to you as a brand or a person?
I've learned that 98% of the world has an addiction and 2% lie about it. To me, there's something authentic. What that view is you're looking externally. You're looking to other people for validation. You're looking at other people to say, hey, am I enough? But if you can look internally and say, hey, you know what? I had some human experiences. There's 8 billion people, right? So every single one of them has a story just as unique and in depth and beautiful as yours. I do it even if it detriments me, because it's going to actually do two things. If someone judges me because of the choices I make, then I have saved myself. I've saved myself the experience of being around someone that I don't need to be around. And then the second thing is it's going to help those other people who are just like me, who have human experiences just like I do, open up and have deeper, more meaningful connection. And that's what we're missing nowadays, is authentic connection. And so that's why I do it.
Welcome to Unreasonable Autonomy. My name is Sarah Grace. This is the podcast for entrepreneurs and innovators who refuse to settle. Here we dive deep into raw, real conversations with boundary pushers who have pursued seemingly impossible ideas and yet have achieved unreasonable results, whether that's in their faith, relationships, health, politics, yes, even business. All of those conversations are happening right here, right now. So let's buckle up, because this isn't about playing it safe. Unreasonable ideas, unstoppable results. Let's go.
Today's podcast guest is Chase Warburton. Chase is a small-town Utah native who has built a life rooted in resilience, faith, family, and service. Through his journey with addiction, recovery, and mental health, Chase has developed a deep desire to help others, solve meaningful problems, and create value in the world. Chase has a gift for seeing what is broken, finding a better way forward, and serving the people he loves. Above all, Chase loves God, loves his wife, loves his kids, and is driven by a desire to make life better for the people around him. I am so thrilled to introduce you to my friend, Chase Warburton. Let's start this conversation now. Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the podcast. It is your host, Sarah Grace, today, but I want to get absolutely out of the way because I have the dearest and, dare I say, like pretty borderline genius guy right across from me here on the podcast, the amazing Chase. I am so excited. We are going to talk all about GotReach. We're going to talk all about family, faith, God, ADHD, mental health. Like, we are jam-packed today. But to my dear listeners, I'm so thrilled to have him here for a variety of reasons. Number one, he is trying to tackle what personally for me is one of the hardest parts of business. And that is trying to follow Alex Hormozi's advice of spending 4 hours a day trying to get leads online. And I am like, hello, mother of four, peace out, Alex Hormozi. That is not in the cards for me. And I really think, Chase, that you are onto something here. Would you agree?
I would dare to say that I agree with you on that, Sarah. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. And I really want to say to my listeners here, you guys know I curate my guests here on the podcast pretty voraciously, right? And so not only does he have a really cool product and offer, and we'll show you all about that later, but you're also just a really great human. You are a listener. You have fought the fight of life and of faith and of family and of being a father and highs and lows. And like, there is this kind of curation to you that is so intriguing to me. And so this just really is selfishly a conversation I want to have because I'm intrigued by how you've become who you are. So are you ready to dive in, my dear friend?
Sarah, let's dive in.
Okay. Let's first set the stage, because in my world, you are fairly new to the scene, to my audience. And so can you give us just the 2 to 3 minute version of what got you from, graduating high school all the way now where you have got this app and sort of outreach, GotReach experience for people to help them get their message out there. But what was your specific journey that got you into being an entrepreneur and living this crazy life?
Absolutely. I've been an entrepreneur since I graduated high school, Sarah. I've always been looking for the next opportunity, the next thing that I could do to serve and fill the needs of the people around me. And so I started off in real estate. I moved to sales. I moved to customer service, technology, you name it, all the different things. And I ended up in health and wellness because mental health has been a huge battle of mine and a huge passion of mine as well, and addiction. And I finally got to a point where I was working at a mental health center and we did red light therapy. And I understood that one of my roles here in the red light therapy world, or in my wellness center, was marketing. And so I spent years trying to figure out marketing and figuring out how to be effective on social media, how to grow and how to scale and how to do these things. And I know you mentioned Alex Hormozi, right? I found Alex Hormozi online because he's the master at it, right? He's the savant.
Yes.
And as I was looking at his stuff online and I was going through his training, I'm same as you, right? I'm a mother with multiple kids. No, I'm totally kidding, right? I was, yeah, I'm a dad. I've got kids and I'm trying to navigate that work-life balance. And when Alex was like, "Hey, you should be posting about 300 videos a month, right? Doing those 4 hours, 100 contacts every single day." I was just like, there's no way. There's no way I can do that. And as soon as I said that, I caught myself and I was like, wow, that's a limiting belief. And I don't want to limit myself, because if you think long enough and work hard enough, anything is possible. Anything is possible if you think long enough and work hard enough. And so I said, okay, how can I make 300 videos? How can I grow online? And how can I do it in a half hour once a month? That was my hope. That's what I wanted. That was the vision.
Impossible.
Impossible, right? And that's where the initial idea came from for this GotReach. It was formerly Fluid Marketing. And that's just where it's evolved over time, was having that goal in mind and then just continually innovating and working and trying to tackle this seemingly impossible task.
Oh, my word. And I love so much that there are a couple of things that are woven into your story, right? The first is you recognized you wanted something, like you wanted success. You also really wanted to help people and solve their problems. And I think that is just in your blood. I sense that from you when I've been in the same room as you. So you've got this, I really want to help people. I'm being told that this is the way, but there was this gap in between, okay, this is the way, but I'm unwilling to leave my family for the next 3 years and do 300 videos a month. I'm unwilling, but instead of saying, well, I'm just going to throw Alex under the bus and not listen to him, instead you got into a space of, well, how do I do it? How do I do it? Right? And so my question for you that I want to dive into immediately is, how can we better get into a mindset of, I believe this is what is required, but I don't think I can do it with my circumstances?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think it comes down to this question. There's a discomfort of complacency and there's a discomfort of growth that we as humans get to choose. And I think it's so often we get in our routines, we get into our patterns, we get into our beliefs, that when a challenge faces us, we can sometimes choose complacency, right? I work here at my wellness center. I could very easily say, you know what? Video is just not our thing. I don't need to do 300 videos, and we'll grow other ways. And I can choose that complacency. I can also choose growth, and I can say, well, hey, there's this obstacle. What can I do to get over it? And then you have to remove limitations. You have to almost think in fantasy and say, hey, if the world was this phantasmical, magical place where anything was possible, what would I want? And then you say, okay, I want the ability to create 300 videos in a half hour. And I don't want it to be AI generated. I want it to be me, because I'm my brand, right? And I want to be able to do that in a half hour once a month. That seems like a fantasy. Okay, how do we make the fantasy a reality? And then I ask myself this question, and this is one of the most important questions that's guided me this whole time, is what am I willing to do to see the results I want?
Well, okay, did your video just blur over? Oh. Test.
Test, I'm still here.
Okay.
Can you hear me okay?
Your video is grayed over.
Oh, it's so strange.
Weird. Okay, just a sec. Let me move.
Oh, you're totally fine. Right. I don't look grayed over on my side of things.
Okay, good. Let me just pause. Okay. This is why we have Rand. This is so good. Okay.
Thank you, Rand.
So good with your words. by the way.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, I'm fascinated by this approach where you're like, what am I willing to do to get this thing that I want? And I want to push against that a little bit because I hear some common themes here. I believe, okay, I hear Chase, I hear you saying, okay, I have got this fantasy goal of 300 videos in 30 minutes. I hear Dan Martell talk about God-sized goals. Like things should feel impossible with what you're going after. Then I hear Benna Hardy talking about the impossible dream or 10xing, or, there's this common theme of like, we need to shoot high, right? It needs to feel impossible. So I want to push you on the idea of how do we make decisions on what we are willing to sacrifice to achieve those things?
Yeah, I think a lot of times people will hit a wall or a ceiling that's based on fear, right? Like, for example, a huge common thing in the business world is equity. Someone is afraid that if they give their equity, they're not going to be as successful or they're not going to make as much money. Or if I give my idea to somebody else, they're going to run it and going to steal it and run. And so what I think the biggest thing for people, if I could leave them with anything, is faith and determination through fear. So if you're willing to do what it takes to succeed, you're going to be in a lot of scary situations. You're going to be in some situations where you're going to feel like the person coming to you is insurmountable, or their request is too big, or there's something that might be too hard, or developing a piece of technology. Sarah, you're a perfect example of this, right? You just developed a piece of technology that won an award, right? And who would have thought we would have been able to do something like that 10 years ago? And so
like 10 days ago, Chase. 10 days ago, I could have done it. Anyway, keep going.
AI develops quickly. But it's faith through the fear. It's faith despite of the fear. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to feel the fear. It means you got to do the thing even though you have the fear.
Oh, I love this. What has been one of those scary situations you have put yourself in as you have tried to push through your fear?
Oh, man. It's every single day for me that I get into my own head where I sit there and I'm negotiating contracts and I'm like, oh, is this the right person? I don't know. There's that gut feeling. I'm like, I'm trying to strive and find peace. Or am I giving away too much? Am I asking too much? Or, I get to a point where we're trying to develop a new feature in the app and nothing is working. And we've been working on it for weeks. And it's like, is this the wrong thing? Am I not capable to actually do this? Do I not have the capacity to handle this new feature? Am I not smart enough? Oh, someone is releasing another AI that's kind of similar to what I'm doing. Am I too slow to launch? Am I not enough? Am I not enough? Am I not enough? Right. And I have to constantly check myself and say, whoa, okay, I'm having these thoughts, I'm having these beliefs. And I just remind myself, I'm like, no one's going to do it like Chase. There's going to be a lot of similarity, right? There's 8 billion people on this planet. A lot of people probably have similar ideas. No one's going to do it just like Chase because no one has my brain.
Well, and yeah, keep going.
Yeah. And so I just have to keep reminding myself, even though I'm not special because I'm a human just like everyone else, my brain is unique because it's mine and it has my experiences and it has my belief and my heart and my spirit. And so no one's going to do it like me. And there's something special about that. And that's what keeps me going.
I love this so much because there's not a single listener here that has not woken up on one day or multiple days in a row and has said, oh my gosh, someone is doing it better than me. Or, oh my gosh, like that's too similar to me. Or, such a bigger name just stole my job. Or like all of those things show up. And so to your core, you come down to the core belief that while I may not be special, and I could fight you on that all day, but while I may not be special, I am unique. And I will resonate with the people that need my specific uniqueness. And that feels like the path you take to get back on track and serving your people.
Every day. I have to do it every single day. I've got to remind myself.
And thank you for your honesty there, that it isn't like, oh, I lost all my funding overnight. And so I had all this doubt and I had to really face it this one time. You're like, oh no, Sarah, I wake up every day and I have to go, why am I doing this? And why should I do this? Right.
And Right. And to be honest, I have those stories, right? Like when we were first trying to get funding, we spent $1,000 for someone to hold us off for 4 months and not help us get any funding. So like I have those experiences as well. But what it comes down to is that it's an internal fear. It's an internal belief that I've had to continually work and grow on. And so it's kind of the surface is the issue with the funding or whatever the problem is you run into, right? The technology, the networking event didn't go well, all that kind of stuff. But then it gets down to the internal belief, the internal thing that it's the surface level thing is trying to reinforce.
Oh, I love this. I love this. And let me go even one step further. This fear that I have felt many days is, okay, I feel called to this thing. I'm making efforts towards this thing. And I am a mom of kids I adore, right?
Yes.
And I have heard you talk about your family. I know that you are a father who adores their family. And so when do you decide, for example, to come on this podcast and give me 90 minutes of your time? How do you decide whether that is a yes for you? Because I know that that takes away from other things. How are you in those decision-making moments?
Yeah. So right now I'm in a phase where a lot of my time is dedicated towards this company that I'm scaling. And Sarah, to be honest, you're an amazing person. And when you invited me, there was no question in my mind that I was going to make the time for this podcast, because not only is your podcast amazing, but you as a human are amazing. And I don't know if your viewers have heard this yet, but the energy you bring, the love that you bring, the passion and care that you bring to every one of your guests, it's real and it's true and it's authentic. And so I knew for a fact it was something I wanted to be a part of. But with my kids, right, I make the sacrifice in my brain. I say, starting up a new company is hard and it's going to take a lot of time and effort from me. And what it's going to do is it's going to give me some flexibility so that when the time is important to be there, when their events are there, when their games, when they're doing presentations, when they're spending an entire weekend at a trade show, doing all those things, that's what I can show up for. I can be there when it really matters. I can be there for the morning prayers. I can be there for the events. I can be there for the goodnight kisses. And so it's kind of a give and take for me, but I do my best to find the peace in the decision. And then I move forward with the peaceful decision.
And I will just couple you with the most brilliant minds that we've had as guests on this show, that one of the tendencies that I see with high performers like yourself is that things are very defined for you. And so while you can say, I try to balance it and I can sacrifice now in hopes and vision that it'll be better later. But I heard you say, I'm going to be at the trade show. I'm going to be there for morning prayers. I'm going to be there for bedtime kisses. And I want my listeners to really grab onto that idea, probably because that's something I struggled with for a long time, is like, am I a good mom? But I had no checkpoint on what that even meant. Like what that meant in my world. But you are like, if I can be there for this and this and this, that is okay with me. I have peace there. Like, would you agree that that has been a helpful practice for you?
I will. I would agree with you. And I would love to add to that. Am I a worthy mom? Am I a good enough mom? I think the fact that you're there and you continue to show up, even if you're not perfect, right? Because no human is perfect, because you're there. And if you're listening, because you're there. Even if you had to leave and you're trying to show back up, right? Even if you leave and you're trying to do and better yourself to become the best version of yourself, you're still worthy and you're still enough. There's not a person on this planet that isn't enough as they are in this moment.
This is going to sound like This is going to sound like a diversion. And I promise you, oh my gosh, Ran, I'm so sorry. Here we go. This is going to sound like a diversion, but I promise you it is not. I know that you have a deep, deep belief in the divine, in God, and that you and I share many similar beliefs about who he is and who we are. So what role has a deity figure played in who you believe you are and how you show up in your world of business and family?
So, and I think you're going to love this. This talking to the divine completely changed my life, and learning how to ask the right questions. My whole life, and I know a lot of people are going to resonate with this, I asked the question, who do I want to be when I grow up? Right? What role do I want to play on this earth? What legacy do I want to leave? What do I want to be known as? And when I asked that question, I wanted to be a boxer. I wanted to be a police officer. I wanted to be the hero. I wanted to be the fighter. I wanted to go do wild adventures and crazy things. I wanted to smoke barbecue. I wanted a big old beard. I wanted to be covered in tattoos, all these things, right? I wanted this whole vibe of this tough guy. And every single time I tried to pursue that, who I want to be, what legacy I want to leave, and who I want to show up as, it left me depressed. It left me feeling like a failure. And it left me feeling like I wasn't doing it right. And it took me almost 30 years to ask the right question. And the right question was this: who does God want me to be when I grow up? What role does God want me to play on this earth? And what role or what legacy does God want me to leave? Right? So I stopped being selfish. And I stopped focusing on what I wanted, and I started asking what God wanted of me. And because of that, I'm doing this. Because of that, I'm on this podcast today. Because of that, there are so many different things that I'm doing, and there's so many different ways that I'm showing up in the world. And so I just got out of my own way, and I started asking him.
And I will bear my second witness of that you can tell that you come from a place of service. And yes. It's almost like I know that I'm doing a work that is backed by the divine, in fact, inspired by the divine. Mm-hmm. And so I'm here to put a face to it. I'm here to be a vehicle or an instrument or whatever word you would use. I do want to ask you because I know you carry that vibe. And so I hope that this doesn't offend you. Do you believe that your path here on earth is sort of predetermined, and that you are sort of following something that has already been constructed and that is inevitable? And how does that couple with the power of choice and action and agency? Let's go deep.
This is one of the great spiritual questions that we all wrestle with, right?
I want to know your answer.
Right? I believe that God gave us agency. And so that means there isn't one outcome, right? I don't think there's one linear line that says this is where you started and this is where you will end, and there's no way, because then there's no agency, right? God gave us agency so that we can make those decisions for ourselves. I think as a heavenly Father, this eternal deity that is all knowing and all believing and all trusting and is all planning and coordinating and all these amazing things, right? However you want to point it. I think that if we choose to go to him and we choose to use our agency to talk to and listen to him, that we can live a life that provides us peace. I don't think that means that we're not going to live a life of turmoil, that we're not going to live a life of hardship, right? We have to experience both the good and the bad, because life is meant to increase our capacity to experience, right? We can't experience great peace if we don't experience great turmoil, right? If we're gonna look biblically, or not biblically, if we look at the Book of Mormon, for example, right? Nephi, when he was sailing across the sea and he was wrestling with his brothers, he was tied to a mast for multiple days through major rainstorms, right? Nephi had to kill Laban, I believe it was, and you can't tell me that wasn't a great strain on his spirit. It wasn't a great strain on his capacity to experience and to have faith and to go through and to follow through. And so I think Heavenly Father perfectly understands us, and he is going to perfectly help us increase our capacity to grow and experience on this planet. And what we do with those opportunities is absolutely our choice.
Oh my gosh. Write a book, man. Write a book.
I've been working on one for a few years, actually.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's talk. Talk. Okay, because I want to bring in one more element to this of what you talked about.
Yeah, let's do it.
Helps us increase our capacity, right? So I was reading Old Testament. We're talking about David lays with Bathsheba, one of the big mistakes of the Old Testament, so to speak, from this that slayed Goliath, right? And I was so fascinated by my study this morning about his son, Solomon. And Solomon, who is the man who eventually builds the temple and is famous for that, Solomon, as a young boy, commits to the idea that he has witnessed God being merciful to his father, David, right? And I was thinking about that, and I was like, oh my gosh, Solomon knows David's story of adultery, right? Of of one of the gravest sins according to the Bible and of our faith. And yet David did not hide that from Solomon. And Solomon saw his father, who was fallen and also mournful and redeemed and all the things in between. And then, Jesus eventually comes from that family line, that broken, mistaken, fallen from grace type of family line, which I think we could talk about for days, which we probably will. But the question that I want to bring to you is, when I read your bio, and you mentioned mental health, and you mentioned ADHD, and you mentioned addiction, and these parts of your life, these are often parts of our lives that even a decade ago, we would never put on a bio.
Right.
Right? Because don't they change what people think of us? And we're not in this perfect mindset, and we haven't lived this perfect seamless life. Like, it sounds less impressive 10 years ago. So talk to me about, this is the longest question ever, apologies, but with that connection, why do you choose to take that risk about speaking about mental health and addiction when they may be considered taboo or even harmful to you as a brand or a person?
I've learned that 98% of the world has an addiction and 2% lie about it.
Oh my God.
So, And so to me, there's something authentic, and when you talk about, man, the whole world is going to think differently about you. And 10 years ago, they would have talked down about you. What that view is you're looking externally, you're looking to other people for validation. You're looking at other people to say, hey, am I enough? And because addiction is seen as little, I will never tell you about that because I don't want you to judge me. I don't want you to think I'm not enough, because if you think I'm not enough, I'm not enough. And so I'm using other people to regulate who I am as a person. And for me, that just doesn't sound like an option that's actually going to last for you, right? It's not going to ever bring you peace or joy. But if you can look internally and say, hey, you know what? I had some human experiences. David, having an adultery, had a really human experience there, right? Those people who struggle with addiction, you who struggle with these fears and these things that I'm not enough, and waking up every morning, and you're having a human experience. And that means that there are a lot of other people who are also humans on this planet. There's 8 billion people, right? So every single one of them has a story just as unique and in depth and beautiful as yours. And so when I have these beliefs, when I have these things, and I look at the world in this view of that we're all humans and we all have experiences, no matter what the experience is, I mean, we could really go radical with this, and we could say those people who have lifelong affair partners, they cheat on on their spouse with 20 or 30 people. It's a human experience. They're not the only person doing that. And it doesn't make that type of behavior okay, right? Because we have social norms and we have beliefs and we have these values. And even in Christianity, right? Don't cheat. You were even mentioning that's one of the greatest sins that we can do.
Right.
It still makes it a human experience. And if we can all learn to embrace human experience as a norm, because it is, right? I can't tell you how many people now raise their hand and say, I struggle with depression too. I've lost someone to suicide. I've struggled with the thing. Then it just becomes authentic, and that's where real connection happens. And so I do it even if it detriments me, because it's going to actually do two things. If someone judges me because of the choices I make, then I have saved myself. I've saved myself the experience of being around someone that I don't need to be around. And then the second thing is it's going to help those other people who are just like me, who have human experiences just like I do, open up and have deeper, more meaningful connection. And that's what we're missing nowadays, is authentic connection. And so that's why I do it.
Amen. And this really won't turn into a conversation about AI. We can talk about that another day, but there is no question that we will be left wanting for authenticity and for real face-to-face. Like, I love talking with you here. I wish we were at a networking event, right?
Oh, it'd be so much fun.
And so we are just doing our best to share human experiences and how the world would change if, when we saw mistakes, we didn't dive into a world of cancel culture. Instead, we dove into a world, go. Yeah. You have an opinion?
Oh, man. Hey, super famous person. I had an affair. Dude, if half the world raised their hand and said, oh, I've done that, how much easier and how much more simple would life be? It doesn't mean we condone the behavior. It just means we understand, right? If some person's like, I'm hooked on drugs, I'm highly addicted to drugs. Oh my gosh, what are you experiencing that's so challenging? Instead of being like, oh, he's an awful person, and then you go do your own drugs in the background, right? Like,
right.
And so, we could get into this so deep, but I'll add this one part. So there's this book, and I love this book. This book has been one of the biggest life-changing books for me. And the book is called The Dark Side of the Light Chasers by Deborah Ford.
I have read this book. Oh my gosh. Okay, go.
So Sarah,
go.
No, I love this book. This book has changed my life, and I'm going to continue to preach this stuff. Inside of us, we have this. Okay, guys, we're getting into the world of fantasy here. So if you're listening, just start playing pretend with me. We have this metaphorical castle, our spirits, our souls, this metaphorical castle inside of us. And inside of this castle is these endless doors. And every single door is a different belief. Being a drug addict is bad. I can't lie. I can't be judgmental. I can't be dishonest. I can't be unkind. I can't be rude, right? There's every single belief that you could ever have, every judgment that you could ever have towards somebody. When we're born and we're first alive, every door is open, meaning that you can walk into any of them. You think about the honesty of a 4-year-old, right? Like my 4-year-old daughter, my 5-year-old daughter, Daddy, is your belly so big because your mouth's so big? Right? Questions like that, right? And so as an adult, we know that's probably not the most right thing to say to a person, right? Self-image, all that kind of jazz. But as a little kid, we don't know any better. And everything is open. We have the capacity to be everything. And as we grow up, we learn to start closing these doors. And we learn to start shutting things out and saying, I'm not allowed to do this. I'm not allowed to be this. And you start to really narrow down your castle, and you only allow yourself to live within a very specific area, your bedroom, the kitchen, a bathroom, maybe, if you're lucky. And what this book does in only one of its chapters is it teaches you how to go into this castle of yours, this metaphorical castle, and open up those doors for human experience again. So for these people who are saying, oh, famous person is addicted to drugs, they're a terrible person, it's because in their own castle, their own personal castle, in your own personal castle, you've said drugs are bad. And you've closed that metaphorical door in your castle. And if you can learn the skill to open up that door again, and it's a really easy skill. If you learn to open that door and say, hey, being an addict is a part of a human experience. And it doesn't mean we allow the addiction, because that can ruin lives, right? But like, we can have more grace for it because it's just human. Then there would be so much more love and so much more grace, I think.
It just, that book, there's many metaphors you could take, but that book, if you feel like you are someone who paints someone else, even yourself, with one big brush because of one life event or one word you hear about yourself or about others, it is a breakthrough book. It is a breakthrough book.
It is a breakthrough book.
We've got to start a book club, Chase.
Yes.
So good. So good. So let's follow up this idea of beliefs and doors and all of those things. How willing would you be to talk to us about the role that mental health has played in your journey?
Yeah, it's a totally open book, Sarah. You can ask me any question.
Just go.
I've struggled with mental health from the time I was 10. I realized I was depressed and I was sad at 10. And by the time I was 12, I had my first suicidal thought.
Wow.
And yeah, I knew I wanted to die when I was 12. And I struggled with suicide up until I was 27. By the time I was 15, the thoughts were daily, and I had daily thoughts for 12 years.
Wow. And pause. Did your circle of influence know? Did your parents know? Did roommates know? Did all the things?
No, in high school, right, I got deeply into drugs and partying because not only were the people that I was friends with thought that was cool, it was also helping me get through and experience life. When I was 18, I lost a sister to suicide, and that made things all the worse. And when I was 19, I admitted myself into a hospital because I was going to take my own life. So my parents started to understand then, I believe. in my earlier 20s, I got married and my wife knew that I struggled with mental health, but I never really allowed people to understand the full capacity of my struggle. Oops, sorry, give me just a second. Pause.
Okay.
We got to have another edit. I am here in my other job and I have to let a client in really quick.
Ran is on it.
Ran is amazing. Thank you, Ran. Hey, Jimmy, about that. How are you?
Okay, fine.
Doing good, doing good. Hey, I am filming a podcast right now, so I'm going to let you hop in and do your thing. If you hear this, you're my new best friend. Thank you so much. So, okay, so yeah, so
You said so that's when you feel like your parents began to understand it. That's where you got to.
Around my early 20s is when my parents started to fully understand the capacity or the levity of my mental health struggles. And then I started to minimize it quite a bit because there was a lot of shame associated with it for me. And, because my sister had died and my family had worked so hard to be resilient towards suicide, the fact that I was super suicidal was just absolutely not okay in my book. And I denied myself. I closed that door, right, that we've been talking about towards being suicidal. It just wasn't okay. So it wasn't something I was willing to talk about. And it all came to a week before Thanksgiving. I was 27 years old. I was married at the time and I had 2 kids. And they were all downstairs listening to music. And I remember being in my closet. And I saw my gun and I said, well, can I just put that to my head? Do I have the capacity to do that? And I did. I grabbed the gun and I put it to my head just to see if I had the ability to do it.
Oh my gosh.
And in that moment, I felt this physical shift in my brain. I don't know what it was, but I felt like a light switch, just switch. And I haven't been suicidal since. I really don't know what to tell you other than I finally gave myself permission. And when I finally gave myself permission, I didn't want it anymore. And that's the only way I know how to describe my experience. And so I want to be really careful about that and say, Blake, don't give yourself to go kill yourself. But when I finally did give myself permission and said, I can do the thing, I didn't want it anymore. It's kind of that old adage. If you remember the story about the guy who jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge, the minute he gave himself permission and he jumped, he realized he didn't want to die. So once I finally gave myself permission, I realized I didn't want to die. And I haven't struggled with it since. No profound, crazy life journey stuff. It just left. God took it from me. And so.
Wow. And I am so sorry to hear about just the history also with your sister.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry. And if you had an ability to sit with her right now, what would you say to her?
I would just tell her that she's okay. She'd probably be comforting me more than anything, to be honest with you. Right? I'd be blubbering like a baby to see her again. But if I could go back to, she was 16 at the time. If I could go back to her name was Hannah. If I could go back to 16-year-old Hannah and I could actually be with her, I would just say, hey, you're okay. Whatever it is you're going through, you're okay. And you're not alone. There's a lot of people struggling. And we're just going to get through this together. And I would make sure she knew that she wasn't alone.
My guess is, and I won't get too preachy, my guess is you are still getting through it together.
Yeah, we are still getting through it together.
I believe that. that. So let me ask you a follow-up question. I understand that in that moment, you feel like your journey with, ideation was over in that moment. Is mental health something you still experience today as an entrepreneur?
Oh, every human does, right? We all have emotions. We all feel excitement and despair and hope and hopelessness and all of those things. And so, yeah, we all experience emotion. We all experience the challenges of having a brain, right?
Yeah.
If you wouldn't be here. And so I've been fortunate enough over the last couple of years to develop a lot of tools and change the way I perceive life, right? That book, Dark Side of the Light Chasers, has been huge for that. And I've just learned to shift my perspective to a more positive one.
Oh, and any listeners, I'm just going to put this offer out there. Any listeners that feel like they have been in Chase's shoes, if you will just DM me on Facebook, find a way to contact me, I will gift that book to anyone who DMs me through either Audible or through Amazon, because I think it's really, really important. And I trust you that was a part of your journey, and that could be, a tool for someone. So go ahead and DM me, listeners. Also, Chase, when you talk about, okay, of course, like we all experience ups and downs mentally, and we all have a brain and emotions and all these things. One of the things I believe can be most challenging for entrepreneurs who experience mental health with depression or anxiety or ADHD is there is such a banner and an award for entrepreneurs who are disciplined and consistent. And I believe mental health ups and downs get in the way of our ability to be disciplined and to be very consistent, right? It's like the algorithm rewards consistency. This podcast is rewarded because of consistency. And what message would you give, or tools would you give to those who struggle with really showing up each and every day? Because that's so highly rewarded in our industry.
Be disciplined in honoring what you need.
Oh,
so so for example, we as humans go through phases and chapters in our life, right? I can't tell you a single person that at 18 years old have just been the same consistent person, especially as they're hitting their 20s, their 30s, their 40s, right? Things change, experiences change, beliefs and views change. And so as you evolve and grow as a human, you're going to experience and view life in a very different way. And you're going to have different experiences, right? Like if you were to tell me, hey, Chase, your sister just died, make sure you're still posting on a daily basis, right? Make sure you're being disciplined and eating the right meals and go to church every Sunday right after your sister died. You're going to get met with a pretty hard wall there, right? No one would. But if you can say, hey, I'm a human, I'm growing, I'm learning to experience and feel. And as I grow and as I learn, the discipline needs to be the ability to work on myself, the ability to love myself, the ability to honor what it is I need in this moment. That discipline will last you far longer than just posting a video every single day. It will last you longer than doing a podcast every single week, right? Because right now, right, the reason I did my podcast, Sarah, and I believe it's for you, you're the same way, right? We do a podcast for two reasons. One, we need to hear the stories ourselves. And two, we know people need to hear these stories as well.
Yeah.
Amen. Right. So, amen. Right. And so in this chapter of your life, you're going to be super disciplined. And when it's time for you to evolve and become a different person, there's going to be a different level of discipline that's required of you. Mm-hmm. So instead of being disciplined to just one thing, be disciplined to the growth of who you are as a human, and just keep applying yourself, keep growing. It's that discomfort of growth, right? Versus the discomfort of complacency. Be disciplined in your growth. That doesn't mean you have to be disciplined in one thing.
Oh my gosh. That was kind of mind-blowing for me, right? Like it almost felt to me, because we've been talking about God so much, it felt like the shift between being disciplined to the law of Moses versus being disciplined in the new law when the Savior came, right? Where it became more principally based, less rules, this whole thing. And I'm like, oh yeah, like a higher, perhaps holier way to approach life is be disciplined in the growth of you. Right? Yes. And does that not play into the age-old adage of your business will only grow to the level that you do? Right?
Right. Yeah, so absolutely.
That's the greatest thing, to be disciplined. I love it so much.
I think about, do you remember that old movie Forever Strong?
Yes.
That came out forever ago, the Highland rugby team?
Yes.
What did the coach say? I'm not making a good team. I'm making good kids. Right? He understood that the discipline of growth in the human level was more important than the discipline of a rugby team. And they have been known as one of the best rugby teams in the States ever. It's because they're disciplined humans, not disciplined doers.
And yet it sounds crazy because all we're thinking about is what is their win-loss record, right? That seems to be what we think we need to be focused on. And he knew that would inevitably come if they focused on the growth and development of the actual people.
Right. You know what? So Alex Hormozi has been super disciplined in his business, right? He's been super disciplined in doing his 100 outreaches a day, building and scaling these companies. I just saw a reel where they found out that they were pregnant with a little boy. right? So the discipline that he's going to have to step into and grow in as a human being, because I know we were talking about Alex Hormozy earlier, is going to be radically different because he's got a son now. And because he chooses to step in and grow and be the discipline of a human versus the discipline of a business owner, entrepreneur, he's going to grow and his legacy is going to become so much more beautiful because of that.
Yeah.
So, and it's the same for you, Sarah, right? This podcast, it's amazing and it's going to provide so much value. You might do it for the rest of your life and there's going to be a discipline to that and it's going to be beautiful and it's going to serve you and others. And as you grow, there are going to be different things you'll have to be disciplined in as well. So just be disciplined in the discomfort of growth.
Oh my gosh. I love this so much. And I really, before we dive into sort of the final rapid fire questions, I love what you said about the discipline of the uncomfortable. And I think often as God-loving people, we believe that, God has our best outcomes in mind and that he wants the best for us. And so sometimes I think if we get into a scenario that feels uncomfortable, that we think it's God saying, hey, be careful or watch out, or this may not be right. Like, where did we go wrong in that theology of thinking that uncomfortable means, oh, I'm being warned and I'm being pulled back? Like, where did we get this idea that God's path is comfortable?
I don't know where we went wrong, but I'll tell you the example that I follow. And it's the example of Jesus Christ. You can't tell me that he wasn't an outlaw, that he wasn't a bandit, that this dude didn't go and cast out demons, heal lepers, get a cornstalk whip and throw tables and whip people, to be bleed from every pore in the garden, to be crucified on the cross, to come back to life, right? You can't tell me that wasn't discomfort. You can't tell me that he didn't live in fear and uncertainty. My God, why have you forsaken me? Please take this burden from my cup. Right? Jesus Christ lived a life of discomfort. He was homeless and he was a carpenter and he traveled with 12 probably super smelly dudes going and preaching the gospel, right? So you can't tell me that there wasn't discomfort in his life. And if we're supposed to become like him, then we should actually learn to step into some discomfort. Jesus's capacity to experience was the fruits of his labors. And so we need to have the fruits of our labors also help us increase the capacity to experience, because that's how we're going to become like him, by increasing. And we can't do that unless we're growing.
Yes. And the labors are uncomfortable and complicated and emotion-filled and all of those things. And it doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. It actually means you're probably right on track. Right? You can feel extreme levels of discomfort while still feeling peace. And we should strive for peace regardless of the comfort level. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, Chase, we got to hang out. This was absolutely amazing. I cannot express my gratitude for your honesty, for your openness, for your willingness to really provide hope and perspective, and also maybe calling out that we need to be better about accepting our own and others' human experience. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity to get on here and talk about stuff that I love, Sarah. This has been great.
Oh, so good. And before I ask Chase our traditional rapid fire last 3 questions of the podcast, I do want to give a little plug in for what Chase has built, right? And so can you just I'm going to tell them what it is, and then can you tell them where to go to get, I know you've got free trials and all those things coming up, but the reality is you've got an amazing soul like Chase that is trying to solve one of the biggest problems, which is visibility, capturing attention, and lead generation, all through this incredible app experience. And I got to tell you, I've tested it. I've sat with them. I've requested features and they were ready the next day. Like they really, him and his partner are really determined to make sure that the features and ease for entrepreneurs like me who like roll my eyes at the Alex Hormozy 4 hours a day thing can actually still accomplish what that principle is meant to do. So tell them the best way to start a trial, to dive into it. I know you are toying with the cheapest pricing on the planet. I'm just going to go on record for what it does. We'll talk about that later, but engaged with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Super simple. You can go to your app store and look up GotReach. GotReach is one word, so GotReach. If you go to GotReach.com, GotReach.com, you can also sign up and log in there. It gives you links to download the app from there as well. So GotReach.com is probably the best place to go. And right now, everyone starts on a free account. The free account allows you to make up to 30 videos every single month and to put that onto one social media channel. So for free, you can create and automate one entire month of content constantly every single month. If you're wanting to start getting into multiple channels and creating unlimited levels of content, because we just released the opportunity for people to make unlimited content instead of limiting them, it starts off as little as $100 a month.
Crazy. It's crazy. You guys, we're talking like editing and like it has not subtitles. What do they call it? Like
captions.
Captions. Yeah, captions.
Yep.
Right. And there's like a prompt thing and it creates your hooks for you and they're not garbage hooks. I am obsessed with
good hooks.
They're not garbage hooks. Like so many things and just the wisdom behind it. Like I never let people pitch stuff on my podcast ever, but I really think that this is innovative and I know that people can use it for free. So I kind of broke my own rule here. So everybody head to GotReach.com or go to your app store and look for GotReach. You'll find it there. So super grateful we were able to have you. Super grateful that we were able to have you on. Are you okay if I ask you 3 rapid fire questions to wrap up this amazing conversation?
I'll give you 3 rapid fire answers. Let's hit it.
Let's do it. You cannot choose the Light Chasers book, but the first question is, what is one book that every single entrepreneur must read?
You Are Here by Thich Nhat Hanh.
Brilliant. I don't know what it is, so we're going to link it in the show notes, everybody.
Okay,
yes, love it. Okay, second one is, what is your favorite supercar?
Supercar is a Lamborghini Aventador.
You're a Lambo guy. Okay.
I'm a Lambo guy.
Got a friend I need to introduce you to. Okay. Because I'm a Ferrari girl, but I have a friend that's a Lambo guy, so it's good.
That's cool.
The third and final question is near and dear to my heart. When you think about your family, kids, those things, and you fast forward and you are at the end of your life, what do you hope they say about what it was like to do life with you?
Oh, I hope that they know and that they can see that I gave it everything I had. Not that I was the most loving or the most kind, that I did my best.
I love that. And I would say you're like well on your way with that.
Thank you.
Bravo to you. Well, listeners, we have been so richly fed. Thank you to the amazing Chase from GotReach. So grateful for your soul and your friendship. Thanks again so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for listening to the Unreasonable Autonomy podcast. If you loved this episode, my guests and I would love to hear about it. Go to the show notes to reach out and let me know what resonated with you or what topics or guests you want to hear in the future. I am here to create for you. Look, I deeply admire your commitment to pushing boundaries and going after an unreasonable life. Keep dreaming big, taking bold steps, and expecting the unreasonable. For more, go to the show notes to dive deeper into the conversations that will keep you going. Thanks for being here.